He didn't really fly a helicopter either. So anyway, for just a quick introduction, Sean Hettich, rockstar real estate agent.
I was so new and wet behind the ears. I didn't even know that I should ask these people for pre-approval letters.
Right.
They were just like, can I go see this house? I'm like, yeah, let's go. I've had 2 agents come to me asking me about ownership or buy-in because they're out there hustling my name brand and building my company for me. And then I have another one saying, hey, if I'm helping you grow, like, can I get a piece of that too? And so I started doing research essentially. I'm like, I feel a threat. There's a big difference between I'm a transactional real estate agent and this is basically just my job, only I'm 1099, and I run a real estate business. A lot of agents, they say that they're running their business, but they don't treat it like a business. Income comes under pressure. The markets are coming under pressure now. I mean, you see what's happening in Austin and Florida, whatever. Agents are gonna wanna keep more of their money. If their volumes are going down, they're gonna want better transaction splits. They're gonna wanna squeeze more. I feel like with the market coming under pressure, it's gonna amplify the opportunity into real and the migration into real and these agent ownership models.
All the way from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yes,
Sean
sir.
Hettich, welcome to Livingston Parish, Louisiana.
Love it here.
Do you really?
I mean, yeah. Every time
I mean,
made the drive for you.
Have you ever hung out in Livingston Parish?
I mean, I bought my last car here.
Did you really?
I was stuck in the dealership for a long time.
You came all the way to Livingston to buy your car.
So that's a long story, but I did end up buying a car in Livingston, but only because I got stranded here. I was actually on a road trip, got stranded, and ended up buying a car here.
Yeah.
Because like my car, was running out, air was running out on this tire. I got stranded. I was like 4 a.m. I was like on a road trip up to Michigan. I know.
Makes
and
sense.
so I went to the
Makes
Cadillac dealership, or was it Cadillac? Yeah. I guess it was like whatever. They had the car that I wanted there. So I was running out of air on the freeway, looked up the most nearest dealership. I ended up getting stranded outside the dealership. And when they opened, they didn't have the tire that I needed in stock. And so I was like, well, can I just trade in the car? And so I ended up, that's the most time that I've spent here.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
There's a lot more detail to that story, but I don't want to take up your whole
Understood.
podcast.
Well, I mean, you flew your helicopter here today, so.
Yeah, I didn't think, Basin Bridge is a bitch, So.
He didn't really fly a helicopter either. So anyway, for just a quick introduction, Sean Hettich, rockstar real estate agent from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah.
You've been the top producing. Now, I don't know what are appropriate questions to ask, what's not appropriate. So forgive me for my, but I mean, I do know you are one of the top selling real estate agents in the Lafayette area, but are you the top selling real estate agent?
I've been the top selling agent probably for about a decade.
Really?
Yeah, maybe even longer. I'd have to go back and look. But
Now, what does that mean?
units and volume. So top units and top volume. I as it relates to outselling my competition, the other agents in the market.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I know what that means, but I just wanted to, just for better context, for people out there who knows going to watch this, maybe not be somebody that's in the real estate business, whatnot. So, all right, when you say most units sold, most volume.
So the last few years have been, it's exponential. It's been building on itself because over the last decade, our average house price has increased, but then also my database has increased. So for instance, last year I think I did just over 50 million and maybe around 170, 180 units, something like that.
Okay.
The previous years were actually a little bit higher than that. So, but that was coming off of COVID highs. Yeah. So we kind of amped up into, and that was all individual production too. People go like, how do you do it? How do you do that much volume on your own? And it's, leverage is my favorite L word. And so, yeah, it's a lot of, I'm completely leveraged out in my transactional business.
Yeah.
In fact, even with all that volume, I'm actually bored half the time because I have so much leverage built into my business.
When you say leverage?
Leverage, assistants, marketing companies. my main thing that I do is just talk to the client, and then I come up with a framework for servicing the client, you know, and then the team, it's not a team of agents. I don't have a real estate team like most people know, but my leverage team, so my assistants, my marketing company that I hire, you know, I mean, there's so many, leverage can go into so many different directions. You know, I have a bookkeeper, an accountant. You know, I don't really do anything. You know, all of these aspects of my business are automated, basically, using, you know, human assets.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's it.
So, what year did you start in real estate?
Halfway through 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, came down to Louisiana. Didn't know a single soul in the city or state.
From
Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm originally a Michigander. I'm a Yankee. I was a little bit nervous actually because my background is in business and marketing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, and I'm also, prior to Michigan, I lived in Australia, and I'm actually a dual citizen of Australia. So, I lived there for 10 years. So I was like thinking to myself, I moved back to America. And I'm like, man, I'm a Australian/Yankee going down into the deep South. Are they gonna like string me up and feed me to the gators? Like I didn't know what I was walking into, you know. But Southern hospitality is a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, the South is. Love it down here.
So you started in 2013.
2013. Yep.
And like, did you know what you were doing? What was your first little hustle lane? Were you just knocking doors? Were you calling for sale by owners, calling expireds? Did you go through any real estate coaching? Like, where'd you start?
Never took a bit of coaching. Nothing. I just it was all instinct, intuition, and marketing data and research that like led me there. And I wasn't even originally going to be a real estate agent. Real estate was very hot in 13, 14, you know. We were coming off the GFC. The market, the real estate market had hit a bottom. It was on the upswing, and just shortage of inventory, prices on the upswing. And I was like, there's a lot of opportunity in real estate. So I was originally going to do like rentals and flips, but I was like, well, I'll become a real estate agent, and then on the flip side, I get to squeeze more margin out of the deal, whatever. And then I just really like transactional real estate. So I was like, well, it was easy and profitable, and it was also like low risk. You know, as a real estate agent, it's extremely low risk, but it's extremely high reward, which is also why so many people want to get into it, right? It's like if you make the phone call and get the sale, the phone call was essentially free, you know, and then the sale is 100% profit almost. So
Did you start on Zillow immediately, or?
Okay, so yeah, it's kind of interesting because people will look back at this and go like, wait, what? So when I got my real estate license and I didn't know anybody in the town, and I was like, okay, I don't know anybody in the town, so how do I get business? So all I did is like, let me put myself in the shoes of the consumer. If I'm a consumer and I want to buy a house or sell a house, like, or whatever, what am I going to do? I'm probably going to go to Google and just say like, houses for sale Lafayette. So I went into just Google and I said, houses for sale Lafayette, putting myself in the shoes of the consumer. All these home shopping websites come up. Zillow, at the time, Trulia, you know, was big, but they're not even a thing anymore. But Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, those were the top three that came up. And then so I went there, I clicked on those websites, and like the first one I did was Realtor.com, and at the top right, and then I also did Zillow, and at the top right of them, it was like real estate professionals, register your profile here. So I registered. I was like, oh, I can register my profile as an agent. Didn't even know I could do that. And then it was like, you know, advertise or buy leads, whatever, you know, contact us. But now it's all online. You don't really talk to a human very often now. But back then, like there was actually like sales reps that would have to call you and tell you, explain to you the whole thing. So I clicked, somebody called me, and they were like, yeah. I was like, I'm a real estate agent. I don't know how this is like my first day. Okay, this is the day after I got my license. I'm doing all this stuff trying to generate business. So the sales rep from, I think it was Zillow, called me, and I was like, I was like, how does this work? And he's like, well, you can buy into zip codes, percentages of zip codes. He explains like how you buy leads and how people are home shopping and then when they send an inquiry, it goes. And I said, well, he said, we don't really have anybody in your area doing this yet. You know, now there's a wait list like a mile long, right? And he's like, there's no one really in Lafayette doing Zillow at all. So I said,
this is 2013.
Okay. Yeah, and because I had asked him, I was like, well, do you have any availability in like our top our top zip codes, which is 70508, 03, whatever. There was like 4 of them that are the top moving zip codes over there. So I was like, do you have any availability? And that's when he was like, yeah, we have all the availability because no one in your area is doing it. And so I said, okay, I'll buy all of it. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, I'll take 100% of exposure in all of these top 4 zip codes. It took a few hours to get the profile set up and get it registered in the system. I would say in less than 12 hours, my inbox was so full of leads, like I didn't even know what to do with them all. So I just started hustling through them and then calling them, doing the thing. And look, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know that I was so new and wet behind the ears. I didn't even know that I should ask these people for pre-approval letters.
Right.
They were just like, can I go see this house? I'm like, yeah, let's go. So I just started running around like a crazy person. Now I wasted a lot of time, but then I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way how to vet people better,
Right.
but trial by error. So that's how I got started. And then within about 12, 18 months, like all these people that had lived there forever, they're like, who is this dude, Sean? Like came out of nowhere and all of a sudden he does it's like $16 million
What?
in my first year.
No.
And yeah, it was all online leads. And they were like, who is this dude? And then they were like, oh, then they started to catch on and see, because obviously they saw my profiles out there. And then more and more people started getting into it. Now everybody tries to buy these leads, everybody. So.
16 million your first year?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So you were solo on Zillow. I guess how long that last?
I rode the gravy train of Zillow for probably about 5 years. But, the margins kept shrinking as more and more agents got into it. Because they used to, when you first started on Zillow, you would get 5, 6, 7x on, if you put in $1, you'd get 7 back. I mean, huge returns. And then by the time that I quit Zillow, my reputation in business is so good, I didn't really need it anymore because I had built such a good reputation and obviously volume and network and friends and clients and whatever. But the Zillow ended up being net negative to me, and my dollar spend was going up, but my ROI was going down. So I was like, Zillow and Realtor.com, I can't do these things anymore. Like I'm not getting the return that I used to.
Yeah. So in the beginning, where you had a CRM, were you like keeping up with everybody, following up after you closed? Like
I didn't even need to, man.
Didn't need to.
Didn't even need to. Nobody was servicing these leads. Nobody. So they were just happy that somebody was calling them because they weren't even getting callbacks before.
Wait, they were happy that you were calling?
Yeah.
Leads are happy.
Now they're annoyed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But because no one was responding to them because no one was working it. So, you didn't need to you didn't need to have a huge follow-up boss type of system or CRM system, because when you called them, they were like, yeah, I'm excited to work with you. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. And there wasn't 18 other agents trying to get their business at the same time.
Yeah. It's funny. Now that, so are you buying leads at all now?
No, I don't buy any.
Don't buy leads. So I'm still buying leads. But one of the methodologies I'm using when I'm calling these leads now is, are you familiar with Chris Voss and the Never Split the Difference book?
No, I'm not familiar.
So Chris Voss was a FBI hostage negotiator back in the day. Now he wrote a book with a co-author, and his methodology was very interesting to me because my background is law enforcement, detective work, whatnot, and I went through what was called the READ technique when I was in investigations, which is just techniques you'll use to interview people, essentially to get good information out of them, whether if it's an admittance to a crime or just a witness, telling you what they saw, whatnot. Well, so he talks about this accusations audit, which I've been using, which is actually kind of working. Now, the idea behind it, well, there's 2 ideas behind it. Number one, let's say I call you and you're a lead that came into my website, whatnot. I'm going to give you an accusation audit up in the beginning of the conversation, and it may be something stupid, and I'm trying different things just to see what works now, but it may be something like, hey, my name is Brandon Browning. I'm a realtor with Real. You're going to want to shoot me, right? Or I'm one of those aggravating realtors that's calling you, and it's a psychology trick. You're naming what they're going to feel already before they feel it.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, so far, it's actually, I think, working for me. I
Yeah.
mean, just this week, I've got two that have submitted a pre-approval application to my lender.
Awesome.
So, but and then you go into labeling and mirroring and all these different technology or techniques that actually I'm finding that works in the real estate space, and people don't connect those dots, because people are just, you got to think, how you differentiate yourself from the other person that may be calling them. What are you saying that's different? And that, to me, is what kind of separates, at least me right now, from others, is that accusation's audit in the beginning. It labels what they're going to be feeling before they feel it, so that kind of diminishes the what's the word? The negative feeling that they're going to feel, right?
Yeah.
So and it's a fascinating book. So if you're a realtor out there and looking for a good book to read to kind of, differentiate yourself, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. You'll love it. Anyway, moving on. So you're kicking butt and taking names, 2013, and making all kind of money. And obviously that evolves into what?
Well, essentially wanting more of my time back, which at the
I
time,
can't imagine. 16 million is
16 million. Oh, dude, I mean,
that's
like I was doing that all on my own. So I
Yeah.
did 16 million on my own, and then I was like, you know what, I need some help.
yeah.
And at that point, I got an assistant, and then from the assistant, that was my first leverage play, and then I was able to scale up into into the 20 million range, like I think it was like low 20s, like 22, 23 million. So, and you just have that assistant working there just full time. All they're working on is just your stuff all day, every day.
Yeah.
All these people want like these virtual TCs or whatever, like just to process a file, and I'm like, you're missing the point of what these people can do for you, you know? The biggest problem I find is that when people actually like get the free time, they go to the beach, they take the time off for themselves, they don't reinvest that time back in their business for growth.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, I have all this free time now what can I build?
Yeah.
The big difference. That's the difference between your mega producers and the people who do this more as like a hobby business,
Yeah. So what company did you start with?
So I started with Keller Williams. Everybody.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody starts with Keller Williams.
And you and I met, and when you left Keller Williams.
Yeah. So I made the transition from KW to EXP.
EXP.
Yeah. And what attracted me to EXP was, really it was like better splits. And then they had the whole like rev share thing and the stock thing. And I was like, so in my mind, I was just thinking like, oh, like I can make more money on the transactions, and I have some other upside there that I can use as a building block, whatever. Now, I just want to preface that the EXP that I joined, 11 years ago is not the EXP that we know today. I mean, when we joined, there was less than 5,000 people there or something, and now they're
What was that, 2016?
Yeah, I think it was 15, 16.
Because I got in
like that.
15. I started in 15.
Okay, so I guess it was
16.
16.
It was 16.
Yeah. So it was like there was a few thousand agents nationally. Like there was, they were going through a lot of growing pains.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like you can call me bougie if you want. Like I don't know. I was like,
Well, I mean, you're in Lafayette.
I am in Lafayette. Yeah, it's like the gated community of Louisiana.
Yeah.
They're so, I don't understand that town is so like. It's also a bougie town, so I'm like, I had all these expectations, and I was like, I wanted to be pampered by my brokerage, you know what I mean? So in EXP, they were going through some growing pains, and they just, in a way, they couldn't like give me what I needed out of the brokerage in that moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which ended up being the best thing for me, because out of some of that frustration of joining them and kind of suffering through some of their early growing pains, which I'm sure they've ironed out by now, I decided that I can do it better on my own. And that's when I broke out and started my own firm with another agent in town, or another broker in town, called District South Real Estate Company. And we worked on that for over 5 years, built it up to be one of the
5 years.
Yeah, I know, believe it or not. And we obviously built that up into one of the top firms in town.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, it was 5 years ago. Don't seem like it.
Well, no, we ran that company for 5 years.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we merged that company with Rio.
Yeah.
Not quite 3 years ago. It's coming up on 3 years.
So you start your own brokerage. You're building a team.
Yep.
Which is, what most people aspire to do. Well, a lot of people aspire to do, not most, but because it is a task and a headache, But so how are you doing with that when you were
Doing the brokerage thing?
in trenches? Yeah, the brokerage.
The brokerage, District South is still like my favorite business that I've ever built. Like, honestly, it was just seeing something like from building it from scratch, and then just watching agents come in, and then being able to like invest so much like time and energy into them, and then watching their volumes like go up because of your leadership. And then like taking a brand and building it, and like having people in the community recognize you and then come up and say, man, you built a really good company. There's just a lot of things about District South that I really loved, and honestly I still miss. And so that was definitely my favorite thing, my favorite memory so far of being in the real estate game was building District South and the agents and my relationships and my partner.
Yeah, that was the first time. So you invited me to come talk about something.
One of our team meetings, yeah. And at the time, you're so techie. You know what I mean? Like, you always have all these like tools and new ways to do things.
Chasing
and,
the
like,
flashy
And
objects.
the agents now, like my agents that like they all came with me obviously to Real, but they still talk about you. They still talk about Brandon Browning. Are you gonna bring him back? Like, he's so cool. Like they like Paige Gary. Do you remember Paige? Like, she loves you. She still talks about you. Like, she was probably talking about you a few months ago. Like when I was talking about like linking up with you.
I don't even remember what I talked about.
I had it. I had it saved in my phone for a long time because you gave so many awesome tips and tricks, and like you do things that are very unique and different. So I think the agents like to hear that.
Yeah. So you're building a team, obviously still number one agent in Lafayette, and the team thing's going. And so when did things start changing for you? Because things changed for you again.
Yep.
So tell us that story.
So it's an interesting one because, like I poured my heart and soul into the agents, and they know it and they felt it. And in a way, like, it ended up being the best thing that I could do is to invest in them, because then they trusted me. And so what actually tipped me off that the market was changing beyond belief, and these traditional models and the franchise models are probably gone forever, or at least not in the way that we remember them from the 80s up until present day. Is a couple of my top producers, you're talking about $15-20 million producers, came to me independently, by the way, and they were like, hey, like, what do you think about doing some sort of ownership incentive with a buy-in into District South? Or like, hey, like one agent was bringing one of her friends, and she was like, if I brought him to EXP, like, I'd actually get to make money off of him. Could you do something like that for me? And I'm like, we don't really have the tools or the complexity, whatever. And I could tell that there was like hesitation and frustration there. And so I was like, okay, I've had 2 agents come to me asking me about ownership or buy-in, because they're out there hustling my name brand and building my company for me. And of course, they're making money too off of their closed deals, but it's under my banner. And then I have another one saying, hey, if I'm helping you grow, like, can I get a piece of that too? And I'm like, these questions are reminiscent of my time at EXP. And so I started doing research, essentially. And I'm like, I feel a threat. That was my biggest thing. Like, it's kind of basic. When you're in business school, you look at the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so this was all within a couple-week period. I feel like 2 threats coming. And the threat is not necessarily from the agents, but because the agents see desire in other models, and that I currently can't compete with under this traditional model. So I actually delved deep back into the agent ownership model, and I'm like, okay, I go back out there and I'm like, okay, I feel threatened. So because I feel threatened because of these conversations that I've had, what can I reflect on my business, and is there opportunities for me in the market? That SWOT analysis. Through the threat, is there an opportunity? And so I went back and looked at the EXP model. And for me, EXP had been built out. A lot of things, I feel like all of the upside for EXP was mostly gone. I mean, not to say that it's completely gone. It's still a great business. Still don't have anything negative to say, but I felt like the opportunity for myself and agents to grow into that model was much smaller than like if there was a competitor. So then I was looking at like, is there other agent ownership models out there, or is this something I could spearhead or whatever? And then of course I stumbled across Real. Everybody was talking about Real. And not everybody, because Real wasn't in Lafayette yet, but online, Real was like causing a big splash. And I was like, well, what is this Real thing? And there was one girl in our town who actually jumped ship there like a year and a half ago, like before we joined, a year and a half before we joined. But so I just called her up and I was like, hey, tell me about this Real thing. And she's like, okay, can you sit down with me? You know, and so she came over to my house and she basically just spelled out the Real opportunity. And I was like, this is like EXP, but like streamlined and kind of enhanced and better in a lot of ways. And I was like, this could be huge. She's like, yeah, it's like blowing up and it's still early days. Like, and I was like, okay, like I feel like the opportunity that I probably missed with the EXP upside, like I could probably capture that again in the Real model. And you know, because when you were EXP, I mean, you caught a lot of that upside because you got a bunch of shares and stuff like that. So made a bunch of money.
Yeah. So was it like a one and done? Did you look at Real and say, hey, this is for me? Or did you look at other opportunities? Because there are a few out there now. Or
yeah, I looked at, so great question actually, because I looked at Real and I got excited. But like you said, you have to do your research. I looked at LPT and Epic. Epic is, look, and I'm not here to like bash. Like I'm not a basher, okay? But Epic wasn't like for me. I thought that they were offering too much. Like they were almost like giving their agents like too many bells and whistles. And I was like, I don't know how much. I don't think that they could on their splits and everything and what they're giving away. Like I don't see how it can be sustainable by them, like from like a revenue standpoint, to be able to also give that away. So I'm thinking that this could be a teaser, and then that gets pulled back, and that'll just make agents mad. And then the LPT thing, I liked LPT. They were pre-IPO. Their model was comparable to Real, I found. I didn't really like their transaction fee. It was like a percentage base instead of a flat rate, so it was hard to calculate what you would actually pay them post-capping. And with both of those two, my main thing was that because they were pre-IPO, it's like, it was just like, you have these shares, but it's like, we promise you, it's an IOU, it's not liquid. And so for me, I was like, I need that liquidity, and also I need the transparency of being publicly traded. If I'm going to give up my company, because I know all the dollars in my company. So if I'm going to buy into something, another company, I want to know the dollars. I want to see the reports. I want to see the flow of the cash flow statements, whatever. And for a non-publicly traded company, I wasn't able to. You just trust. You have to trust what the owners are saying. And for me, I just wanted the transparency of public. Yeah. So it just kind of, everything kind of funneled down to Real. Plus I like their logo. Their logo is cool. Yeah. So there was like a lot of things. I mean, and again, like nothing against those other couple companies that I looked at, but Real was the logical choice.
Gotcha. So do you still have a business partner whenever you made this transition?
Yeah. So Carrie and I, we collapsed our firm and voluntarily merged the firm into Real.
So she just kind of followed your lead on it, or?
So I went into her office and I was like, hey, because I approached her with it, because I had already done all the research, and I kind of blindsided her with it. And basically I walked in, I shut the door, and I was like, hey, do you have a few minutes to chat with me? She was like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, okay, you might shoot me.
Accusation audit.
Yeah, you might. That's a good one. See, I did it instinctively, right?
Yeah.
You might shoot me. You might hug me. I don't know, because I'm not gonna lie, we were making a lot of money off the firm, So it was like, I'm asking you to dissolve our success and take a chance on something with me. So I explained to her my analysis of what I see happening within our own agents and the opportunity with the Real thing, and she did not give me pushback. She's like, no, I see it. Like, yeah, I mean, she was hesitant at first. She was like, tell me more. Like she had questions, but I basically just spelled it out. And, but we had been partners for so long. I mean, she trusted my judgment. Like, I mean, and so ultimately we spoke with the CEO at Real, Tamir, and asked him a lot of questions about their culture, because like we had a very, very tight knit culture and group. So we asked him like one-on-one through a Zoom call, like a lot of questions about their future plans, their growth, their culture, some of the financial stuff too, of course, and wanted to make sure that they were stable. And he gave us all the right answers, and so then we just merged everything in.
So if you pull the thread on that a little bit, though, like you've built something for 5 years that is tremendously successful, right? You're killing it. You're in a business partner. Y'all making tons of money.
Yep.
And you got your own brand name, and I'm talking about this intentionally because I've had a few conversations with some quote unquote brokers who've built something, right? Yep. So was there still, once you sat down and had this conversation with this person about Real, I mean, I would imagine there's something going on in your head. It's like, man, do I really want to walk away from this that I built that's winning, that's succeeding? I mean, can you just attribute it to where you think things are going, or where you see things are going, to where it was just an obvious decision, or was that like a big struggle for you?
It wasn't, because, and you have to put your pride and your ego aside, but like more importantly than that, in the opportunity, like, how do I explain this in a way that like is easy for people to like understand? Okay, so I have goals. Clearly I have like very big goals, just like we all do. And so the question I had to ask myself is, will this transition over to Real help me expedite or enhance my goals of financial freedom goals, or will it hinder it? Well, it will help it, because now I can scale bigger. I have a better model, whatever. And so I had to make the decision, am I going to be more loyal to my goal, or am I going to be more loyal to the historical business that I built that is clearly under threat? And so my goal was more important than my brand. And so I had to like make that mental leap over to what model is going to carry me into the future and help me expand my and serve my future self and my goals. And Real has gave me the opportunity to do that, because like the way that another aspect of Real is, if you think about it, if I have an indie brokerage or a franchise or whatever, if I want to break into Denham Springs or go to another city, the financial risk and the time risk and the personnel risk is so great. Like if I wanted to open up a District South in Baton Rouge, nobody knows Sean. Like I might do very well in Lafayette, but nobody knows that I'm awesome in Baton Rouge. And I might not even succeed in Baton Rouge, because I'd have to spend 10 years building a transactional brand to build that trust and then build a brand. So for me to come over here and open up a bricks and mortar shop, and like, build a reputation and hire staff and have all the liability of a broker and owning the brokerage, and do all of this before I've even recruited one agent and sold one house. I mean, that's a lot of risk, hundreds of thousands of dollars before you even open the doors. And then if it doesn't work out, that's like a sunk cost. So the cool thing about the Real model is all of their system their brand was already built, and all of their system is centralized. So all I have to do is come over here and shake your hand and say, hey, check out what's already been built. Come with me on this journey. And the risk is a phone call, just like kind of like a transactional real estate agent. Like we mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, the risk is only calling the lead or door knocking the expired listing or whatever. The risk is so low, but the fruit of that labor is so high. And that's the way I look at like Real, is like the revenue from the activity is just just worth so much more. You know, it's very comparable to being a transactional agent and building the firm out as an agent ownership firm.
So tell me how the conversation went with the agents.
It was kind of, it was hard because I called a mandatory team meeting, which I had never done in 5 years. So we have a mandatory meeting, all 50. Well, there was a couple agents that couldn't come in, so they tuned in because we broadcast it into the team meeting or into the Facebook group. But, you know, we had all 50 agents there, and we basically just laid it all on the line. We said, we're merging with Real Broker, and I'm going to go through what their model is and how it's going to go over. And, you know, and we had to be a little bit cold because in business you have to be a little bit cold. The decision's already been made. We would love for you to come with us. So we know that some of you are already on board because whatever, but because of the conversations we've had, for those of you who are not on board, I will give you all the information in this meeting, and then you have to decide within 48 hours.
Dang.
Yeah. Otherwise, we have to send your license back because we will not be a firm anymore.
Right.
But, you know, that was like the hard conversation, which is like, you don't have a lot of time. But, you know, every agent came. I mean, I think there was one did not come, but that was because she was already on her way out to retirement. She was like, I'm good. I'm just
So every agent came.
Yep. Every agent.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
And they're still there.
And how long ago was that?
Almost 3 years ago.
3 years.
Yeah. 3 years ago, like a month.
And they all come and they all still there.
All came, all still there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many brokers out there that could say that.
I know. I know.
So evidently they're winning.
I didn't have much churn under District South. Like, you know, I really did try to be the best leader that I could be. So, you know, it would be try not to give them reasons to leave, you know?
Yeah. So, all right. So let's pull the conversation into a few things here. So 3 years in.
3 years in.
Right. Any regrets whatsoever swapping to Real?
None.
None.
It's been the biggest blessing.
Biggest blessing. So why?
Really scalability in income. Because now I've been able to grow Real by making those outreach outreach into other cities and states and even locally within Lafayette to grow Real locally and outside of Lafayette. Using their model, the agent ownership model. And we'll talk about like the incentives for doing that in a minute. But I've been able to go from 50 agents merging in. Now I have almost 450 agents underneath me. And that revenue from that growing the company has been able to offset a lot of my transactional revenue. So you'll see, like if you go to my website, you'll see that my transactional count, my unit count has been going down. And that has been, I'm calling it a controlled descent. So I'm trying to ease myself away from transactional real estate. But I have a lifestyle and I have kids and a wife, whatever. So I don't want to give up the income. So the income from growing the company has been able to offset my reduction in transactional real estate. And so I'm trying to get to the point, I won't be able to probably ever fully cut transactional real estate. But if I could reduce it by 70 to 80%, like I could probably maintain or grow my lifestyle, but maintain or grow my lifestyle and income, but increase my time that I have available for my family and for myself, and that's called a life. That's called living your best life, you know.
Yeah.
And I know it's cliche, but that's true.
Yeah. Which in the beginning of this conversation, you talked about, having these big goals. Obviously, the big goal is to not be out there hustling every single day, turning doorknobs every single day, writing contracts, whatever, but to create another revenue path to where, like you said, it's a controlled descent, at the end of the day, or 5 years, whatever your goal looks like 10 years from now, like you just kind of taking what you want and, maybe giving away what you don't, and and the income's better, more, or the same,
Yeah, and all your timing, you get all your time, like you just support your people just like you normally would. And a lot of people forget, we are running a real estate business. So this is just another facet of my real estate business. Like there's a big difference between I'm a transactional real estate agent, and this is basically just my job, only I'm 1099, and I run a real estate business.
Yeah.
And I think that like a lot of agents, they say that they're running their business, but they don't treat it like a business.
Yeah.
It's basically just like, how can I go unlock more doors?
Right.
And then every single month they start from zero.
Yeah.
Because they got the deals under contract, they closed them, and guess what? There'll be a little bit of, this one closes in 2 months.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit of pressure relief, but there's constant pressure to find the next deal and find the next client and unlock the next door. And that's just not sustainable. From an energy point of view, it's very demanding on your energy and time to be a real estate agent too. The evenings and the weekends and like the anxiety and the emotions, like, and the anger and the disputes and also the happiness. There's a lot of emotions, and it's very taxing on a human being to be able to do that for an extended period of time. And that's why so many agents, they just get burnt out, and it's exhausting. So it's like, but it's so profitable that it's hard to give it up. It's almost like a drug, you know what I mean? It's like, well, how can I make the best of both worlds, like have the income, but then still like diversify away from it,
Yeah. I know, man. I was talking to an agent, he was either yesterday or day before. I mean, he said he had like 10 deals under contract and just had a roll of bad luck and lost every one of them but one.
Think about all the time wasted.
Right. Not just, and just potential income about to hit your bank account, and then, drastically changes. And then where you at? And this agent's 7, 8 years, 9 years in.
What's 9 deals? Let's just say he was making a 2.75%. 9 deals, and what's your average sales price in this region?
Average, I would say, is 285 maybe.
So 9 times 285 times 0.0275. You'll have some 3%. So he was about to make 70. Yeah. He lost $70,000 worth of income. Really? Well, then he might have had to pay his broker a little bit. But basically, he probably lost $65,000 plus worth of income.
Wow.
And so he's like thinking, man, my family's gonna be eating good next month, and now nothing. That's the drama of real estate, man.
Right.
At the inconsistency. I mean, I've had so many deals that I couldn't even count them.
Yeah. I mean, that's always gonna be the case.
Always gonna be the case. Yeah.
So, and just to give a little bit more context here, so Sean called me, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was not out of the real estate game, but had a full-time job in government, whatnot, and he just sees my YouTube videos start popping up on his feed and whatnot. And he was like, wait, what's going on here? So he just randomly calls me out the blue. He's like, hey, you like back hustling in real estate? And I was like, yeah, I am. And I'm back full-time, whatnot. And he's like, well, how's it going? So really long story short, I mean, he just we talked for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. I mean, I was probably one of the easiest.
That was the easiest convert. Because so many people there, they get complacent with their business. They're comfortable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
comfortable. Yeah, you're comfortable, and it's just a headache of like getting new signs made, just a little things, you start thinking about. And but at the end of the day, you said something that got me, and we can get into this a little bit more here shortly.
Sure.
Obviously, as you get older, you start thinking about, you got wife, you got kids, you got, you got this income. I've been in the business for however many years, 11 years. And what you just said is true. I mean, if the transaction is not there, there's no money coming in, right? So if something were to happen to me, let's say 5 years from now, the business that I do, if I'm at my old company, if something tragically happens to me, that income stops right then. And so let's say I'm grinding it out 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and everything that I've built between now and then, and something happens to me, and that income doesn't stop. It continues to flow to my wife or to my kids, wherever I designate it to go to.
Through the revenue share, yeah.
through the revenue share.
Yep.
And that could be done through you know, the closings that you do between now and then through the revenue share, right? The stocks.
That's through the agency you bring into the network.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the stocks
Yeah.
stay there too.
So that's what, okay, exactly, the stocks. So I want you to kind of run the show here because this is your specialty, not mine, all right? But I want you to talk to 3 different people here. I want you to talk to, and you can kind of dictate how it goes.
Sure.
I want you to talk to the broker out there, which you've kind of spoke to them already, that has a brokerage out there. I want you to talk to the normal, everyday, average agent, like I was when you called me, and the new agent coming in.
Okay, I'll start the broker and the experienced agent. I'm going to have to kind of lump into the same category because really the benefit to the agent is actually the threat to the brokerage. And if these brokers don't get on board, like their agents are going to leave them anyway.
Yeah.
Period. Like the agents are 1099 contractors. And eventually the agents, there's going to be so much pressure for the agents they're going to see all their friends making more money and making the moves. And there's going to be so much pressure. And eventually you look at the number side by side and it just will not make financial sense. And then at the end of the day, like, do you want your broker to have another boat or another new car, or do you want the new car for your family? You know what I mean? And that's the decision that these people would be faced with. Do I want my broker to make an extra 30 some odd thousand, or do I want to put it in my pocket and possibly more?
Yeah.
And then people are going to choose themselves over their broker most of the time. I've had some stubborn people that don't make the move, you know? The way that I look at it with the Real model is essentially, now Real has a lot of tools and stuff. I'm not going to get into all the bells and whistles and all the hoopla. The way that I like to look at it is just very black and white, very like, what is the core thing that we're looking at? And the way I look at it is there's essentially 3 buckets. You have your transactional bucket, which is no different than what you're already doing. So it's like, okay, what is the agent that values the transaction? And that is first and foremost in their mind, is this competitive? Yeah, it's 85-15 splits, some of the best splits in the industry. And then you get to cap it $12,000. Then you go to 100% minus transaction fee.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so low. Like that is, I mean, I couldn't offer that as a broker and make money for myself. And then I'm like, and then if you're a team, like your team members half cap. Now there's different levels. Like some team members can cap at 6 and some at 4, depending on the size of the team and yada yada. But so that if you're a team leader, your members are going to want that, you know. And so from a transactional point of view, automatically right out of the gate, if not the most competitive, like probably one of the most competitive in the industry. So if you don't do anything else and you just want to start at 0 and unlock the doors every single month, you're going to make more money under that model. So just from that point of view, boom, done. But wait, there's more. And so then that brings me to the real crux of Real Broker and the problem that they solve. And so, like, in order for a business to succeed, you have to solve somebody's problem. That has been that's how every successful product since the beginning of time has worked. Even if you have a wrinkly shirt, an iron solves the problem. So the first person to manufacture an iron, guess what? They made a lot of money. You know, so what problem does it solve? Because that doesn't necessarily solve a problem. You're more competitive on the transaction front, maybe a little bit of money, but maybe not enough to move the needle for the majority of people who are like you and maybe don't want to change their sign. They're complacent. They like their coworkers, whatever. So then I go, okay, the problem that is solved. What is the problem? Let me ask you, what is the problem that you have that you can't get away from as a transactional agent? And you already answered this, but you can say it. I'll prompt you. You mentioned like if you pass away, there's nothing left, right? And so, okay, so then how is that addressed? The biggest problem is if you're not unlocking doors, you're not making money. But what about the doors that you have unlocked? Like, do you get anything for that? Whatever. Okay. So the problem is we don't get a 401k and we don't get a pension. So there's no residual income, and you don't get any asset ownership in the company. So are you really a business if you have nothing to sell? You're not a business. You can't sell your face. And if you can't even sell your income stream, because if it's not you unlocking the door, there's no money coming in. Mm-hmm. So how does Real solve that problem? And so again, these are opt-in options. So the Real, being publicly traded, they've offered what's called a stock awards program and a stock purchase plan. Kind of like, really any publicly traded company has this. Like Coca-Cola, Frank's International, whatever, all of their employees will get like stock options and awards or whatever. And even 401ks will do employer matches and stuff. So they've just taken that and applied it to this model. And so if you want to, you're not required to, but if you choose to in your business, you can opt into the stock purchase plan. And if you do that, you can take a small percentage of your closing check, invest it into Real stock. And if you do that, Real will actually give you a bonus or a match on that. So it's kind of like you're making your money make money for you. Mm-hmm. Like the phrase work smarter, not harder. Mm-hmm. I've already done the closing, and now I'm investing a portion of that closing and making that the company match. And then if the stock price goes up, that makes it even more money. And so you have the asset at the end of the day. The stock doesn't go away. It's there. Now, that's the stock purchase plan. So you do have to opt into that under the Real model. But then you have the stock awards plan that you do not have to opt into. It's automatic, and they gift you free shares in the company, whether or not you want them or not. They're free from the company if you hit certain pinnacles. Like if you bring in a new agent to the company, they will gift you money. If you cap, they will gift you some free shares. And so they kind of give you some extra ownership, even if you did not want to be involved in a stock purchase plan. And at the end of the day, you work on this thing for the next, if you're going to be an agent for the next 10, 15 years or whatever 20 years, whatever your time is in the industry, the younger you are, probably the better, really. Mm-hmm. But you work on this, and at the end of the day, what is it and what is it worth? So it could be 10,000 shares, 20,000 shares, 100,000 shares. It doesn't matter what it is, times whatever, $4, $5, $10, $20 a share. I mean, it could actually be hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars that is there for you at the end of the rainbow. Whereas if you don't do that, there's nothing there for you at the end of the rainbow. You get nothing. And so that is your asset. That is what you actually get to sell. And that is that is one major thing that agents are really wanting. It's that asset, that exit strategy, and having something liquid that they can get rid of at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I would find that is one really important thing that agents can get into. Now, or the reasons why they get into the Real model, excuse me. Yeah. The other thing is the pension replacement. So, if I'm not selling houses, I'm not making money. So this because it's publicly traded, the agents get shares. You're an owner. So even the CEO, when he talks to us, you're my partner in this. We're agent partners. We're all in this together. So like you are my business partner. And so it's a much different mindset. So how they have with the revenue share is like if I bring you into Real, whenever you have your closing, out of the company side, not out of your side, the company will give me a small piece of the money that you've paid them out of your commission check, because it's much cheaper for them to give me a piece out of their income than it is for them to go open up a bricks and mortar and take all the risk and try to recruit the agents themselves and do all of these things. So they've decided to share the revenue with their agent partners, aka you and I, their co-owners, for growing the company for and with them. That is called revenue share. And so people always go, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, it's a scam, it's a recruiting tactic. And I'm like, look, if an agent doesn't want to bring in another agent, they don't have to. Like, I called you because you're my buddy, and I want you in, and yeah, I make money off you, but also I think that you'd be good in the culture. And so like, people will generally want to come to your firm because they had a good deal with you or because the splits are better or whatever. So why not get a little piece of that as well? And so it might not be a big chunk for the agents where it happens organically. Like, hey, like I had this closing, you tell me about this Real thing. Oh, 85-15 split, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I want to come. Okay, I'm going to join up underneath you. And now that agent gets money. Now, that's kind of like your normal agent that's going to happen to. Maybe make an extra few $100 a month, no big deal, whatever. Could be more over time as the longer their industry. But for the agents that are very proactive in growing it, of course, it can become another business, another building block in their real estate business. And that is what I'm doing, because it's a smaller percentage than I was making off of agents as a broker, but now I'm much more scalable. So now I can come to Denham Springs, I can come to Baton Rouge, I can go to Wichita, I can go to Fort Worth, I can go to all these places that I've been networking with agents and building, and I can grow without any risk. And it's a smaller percentage, but now I have the whole nation, and it's been wonderful for the bottom line. I can tell you that. Right now, I mean, I think I'm almost up to 450 agents underneath me, which, I mean, that's not even where I want. I mean, I want to go much further than that, but you know, I mean, you couldn't do that in a realistic amount of time under the normal models. So those are the three buckets that I find, and that is the opportunity for the agent, but also the biggest threat for the broker. But it's also the opportunity for the broker too, because they already have the influence, they already have the agents, they already have the credibility, or even large teams, top agents, whatever. So they fold in and then use their influence and their networks and their existing model to like help them grow. They already have the aspirations, you know, you already have the awesome video and the followers, you know, like it's not a coincidence that I see a lot of value in you, you know? So that was a very long-winded answer to your question. I'm sorry.
It's perfect. It's perfect. I mean, I like doing videos, social media, and one of the attractions to me was the fact it's the power in social media. I mean, you showed me this guy who is, I don't remember what state he's in, but he's doing social media videos about real and doing very balanced. He's taking a very balanced approach. He's like he's not like, hey, this real. He's like, hey, here's real versus EXP. Here's real versus LPT. Here's real versus whatever. And he does a very fair, you know, just this is what this company offers. And just by doing that and the scalability of just having transparent conversations. He's even had people come on his show from EXP talking about the differences and whatnot. And from what I understand, I don't know the guy, but the guy's built a tremendous business and probably doesn't unlock a door.
I mean, he doesn't unlock doors anymore, that's for sure. Now, look, I am going to guess. I've not called him and asked him, but one thing I know for sure is that he has the widest top line out of anyone in real, meaning the most amount of people who have named him as a sponsor specifically. And I know that he has probably thousands of agents underneath him at this point, and
all over the country.
All over the country, all over the world. I mean, he has people in other countries too. And I can't imagine that he would be making less than at least a couple $100,000 a month. Maybe I'm just guessing. I mean, I look at like my rev share, and then I'm like, he's so much higher than me. I mean, I can't imagine could be $300,000-$400,000 a month. I mean, the dude is just, and you would never know it by looking at his videos and all that. But that is the opportunity, you know, and people, there's going to be a huge migration away from the traditional models as the agents' income comes under pressure. The markets are coming under pressure now. I mean, you see what's happening in Austin and Florida, whatever. Agents are going to want to keep more of their money, and they're going to, if their volumes are going down, they're going to want better transaction splits. They're going to want to squeeze more juice out of that lemon, you know, and it's going to be, I feel like with the market coming under pressure, it's going to amplify the opportunity into real and the migration into real and these agent ownership models. So now is like a perfect time to like, you know, network with these agents for sure.
Yeah. So to wrap it up here, why don't you talk directly to, because one of the things you said to me that kind of stuck out was this. You said, look, there's nobody really in the greater Baton Rouge area that's doing what I do in Lafayette. You know, the opportunity from Baton Rouge to Covington, to Madisonville, Mandeville, and I think even New Orleans maybe. There's just nobody out there just hustling, trying to. And what do you? I mean, you call it recruiting, but I mean, sure, but you're just, hey, this is an opportunity for you.
Yeah, and
You know,
like I don't even. I mean, people call it recruiting. I mean, you know, like when I called you, I mean, you know, you don't there. In the beginning with EXP, I think a lot of people got a bad taste in their mouth because with in the beginning with EXP, there was a lot of people that were just recruiters and they saw the opportunity, but they were excited. You know what I mean? They were like, I get to do something that I've never done before. So it did kind of put a bad taste in some other agents' mouth, you know. Not to say that those people were doing the wrong thing because they were doing right for what their business, but like they were just excited and like maybe they shouldn't have been as pushy or whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't really care. The opportunity was still the same and they still made a bunch of money. So what do they care either, you know? Having said that though, I hate at Real, we call it agent attraction because we kind of like how the conversation I had with you, I was like, instead of saying you should do this, Brandon, you really need to do this because I said so, because I think it's good for me and I'm going to make money off of you, blah, 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 blah. It's I, me as a recruiter. I like the approach of like, this is what I did. This is why I did it and why it's good for my business. If you think that if any of this rings a bell with you and you think that it would benefit you and your business and you hear what I'm saying, or you're feeling some of the things that I'm feeling, you know, like you're tired of resetting at zero every month. You're feeling the pressure of these agent ownership models and you feel the pressure on your bottom line, whatever, you're getting burnt out. You want an exit strategy from your business. You don't want to be doing this until you're 90 years old. If any of these things are ringing a bell with you, like, let's continue the conversation.
Yeah.
If you're feeling these same things. And if you're not, and you're like, no, I'm happy where I'm at. Like if that day when I called you and I didn't even call you for real. I called you off of your YouTube videos and the conversation just went that way. But, you know, if they're not like you, they're still a professional, you know, you still have to do deals with them. They're still your colleague. We're still in this whole thing together. So just if it's not for them, then just shake their hand and like wish them well. And not everybody is driven by the same things that I'm driven by. Not everybody feels the same threats or the same, you know, the same things that I feel. And so you kind of attract the people that feel the same things that you do, but also see the opportunity and get the excitement that I see too. You know, like you want people that are excited about Real. You want people that see the opportunity too. So it's not just about like the fear. It's also about the hope, you know?
Yeah. So you see a tremendous opportunity here in the greater Baton Rouge area, all the way to New Orleans.
Dude, I mean, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, there's really nothing happening in Shreveport. There's really nothing happening in Alexandria. There's nothing happening in Houma Thibodeau. I mean, that's just Louisiana, by the way.
Yeah, just Louisiana.
I mean, you go to you can probably go to, I could name 100 cities right now in the United States that have a population of, let's say, 350,000 or under, where Real has almost no presence.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunity is so big. There's so much opportunity that like I couldn't even capture the opportunity if I wanted to. It would be a Herculean task. Yeah. And that's why I need to like work with people like you to help me grow and help me do the thing and then make the money along the way.
Yeah. And we sat down, I won't name any names, but we sat down with what I would consider a mega agent, a really good agent in the greater Baton Rouge area. And she's been with the same company for a while and she's moving over.
She's moving over.
And she's bringing people with her.
I'm sure of it. And like, I was super excited to see her move. And like, you know, these are just two big names in their region. And then this is gonna light a fire. And hopefully this podcast will as well and get people to connect with you, you know? And I think that like people need to understand, you know, like people are afraid when they hear cloud base. Oh, I'm going to be alone.
Are they still afraid now?
I think they are. They really are, because they think that they're going to be alone. Yeah. And if anything, in our digitally technological connected world, we're more connected now because we're always like texting and joining, and you can have a physical office too if you wanted to, but we're always collabing and connecting, and like cheering each other on, because the mindset changes from when you are just an agent at a brokerage, and now you're an agent owner and you get rewarded, and now you're your shares are going up in price and you're making money as people come in. Now you're like, a rising tide lifts all ships. We're in this boat together. Let's build this thing together. So your mindset really changes from a transactional agent into like a I would say a higher level of business by transitioning. And so it's just like so exciting.
Yeah. And that was part of it too. I mean, it's, Sean told me, he said, hey dude, you want to come over? I'll help you. I'll drive. I mean, you're all the way in Livingston Parish. How long? Hour and a half drive?
Hour and 47 minutes.
Hour and 47 minutes.
I only got stuck 10 minutes on that bridge.
So if there's an agent out there that's in the greater Baton Rouge area, or even Madisonville, Covington, whatnot, that, said, hey, look, I like this guy, Sean. Well, they're going to like you a whole lot more than they're going to like me. Let's just be honest. But, hey, you're more than welcome, and I'll let Sean hear. I'll tell you how you can get in touch with both of us if you are interested and want to continue the conversation. But I mean, I can tell you just from experience with Sean. I mean, we've known each other since I think 2016-ish, and I mean, heck, you've come over here and met with me 3 times. I mean, twice now, just in the last couple months, and just interested in helping me build my business here. And not only that, I mean, he's like, hey, do you need some help with some some advice on some transactional stuff? I'll tell you what my system is, and what you're doing, and you have. So I've gotten him on a few phone calls with some agents and through some Zooms, and just kind of I've sat back and listened and learned, and obviously I still have a lot to learn. So if you're interested in hearing about this opportunity, obviously you can reach me. 225-445-0629. That's my cell phone number. Call or text. If they want to reach out to Sean.
Yep. You can call or text anytime. Follow me on social, DM me, whatever, 337-207-9430. And I just don't want people to think that they're alone. Let's build this thing together and see the upside together.
Right. So in your website, is it
Top Agent 337.
Top 8. Check out that website, by the way. I'm super jealous.
Yeah, I put everything on there. So I put all of my what I'm going to do for a seller. I don't really work with buyers too much anymore, but I have a little buyer section. A lot of the stuff is geared towards sellers, and then you can see all my production. I put all of my basically everything that I do for a seller, so they can see everything on there. So I'm very transparent.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't gatekeep.
So ultimately, to close this out, this is how I kind of worked my decision here. And honestly, initially I was like, I'm not changing again. Like I'm not going, because I went from Darren James' team to, we went to EXP together, and then went to KW, and then I kind of got out, actually 1% list. I don't even know why I did that, but then when I started to get back into real estate, I got back to KW, and I was like, I don't want to go through that. And then it came down to this. I was like, if I went to my wife and kids and I told them, here's this model and here's this model, which one would y'all rather me do? I mean, I felt like they would say, well, obviously that one, which would have been real. And then also, if I'd have went to one of the guys on Shark Tank and said, hey guys, what do y'all think I should do? This model or this model? I feel like every one of them would say
the real model.
The real model.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just common sense to me. And this is I had a great time at KW. I've got some really good friendships from working over there. And it was just it was a me and my family decision primarily. And you feel that obligation, although it's awkward, you feel that obligation to tell other people, hey dude, hey, there's this opportunity over here, which, in my opinion, will be much better for you and your family. Yeah. So, and that's just kind of how I made a decision.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I've been able to hang out more too.
That's right. And we're fixing to go to lunch with an agent here in a minute. So,
That's right.
And all I did was call and say, hey man, this is what's out there. Are you interested in talking? He's like, sure. But anyway, but man, I appreciate you coming out. And
of course.
And too bad we don't live closer. We can do this pretty consistently. But
I know.
And I'm not really, I don't know if I want to do the virtual stuff, podcasting. But anyway,
I mean, I'll drive over here anytime, dude. It's fun.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah.
Well, if you're out there watching and listening still, thank you so much. Check Sean out on his socials, his website. Give him a call, give me a call if you're interested in hearing more about Real. If you want to come join the team and let's build something great.
I love it.
All right, man. Thank y'all so much for watching.